Hi everyone, and welcome to all of you to our energy talks dedicated to solar energy. I am Arnaud Ledoux, Head of Social Media at Total Energy, and I have the pleasure today to welcome Laurent Becerra, who is Managing Director, Renewables Internationals at Total Energies, and who will be our guest to talk about solar today. Welcome, Laurent.
Thanks, Arnaud. I'm very glad to be with you today.
Thank you for being here. To prepare this interview, you've been many to send us your questions on LinkedIn for the past 2 weeks, and thank you for that. We have selected some of them to make it as representative as possible, but don't worry if you missed it, because you still have your chance. You can still ask your questions in the comment section of this live, and we will select some of them at the end of the interview. This live will last roughly 30 minutes, and we'll talk about various topics around solar, about the technology today, the situation also, and the ambitions of the company, of course. So that's it for the menu. Now let's start asking you your questions to Laurent. So Laurent, first questions about the situation today of solar energy in the electricity mix. Because it's true that when I was preparing our chat, I read that basically every hour Earth will receive a lot of sun, a significant amount to produce enough energy in theory and to cover the full energy needs of the planet. But still, solar energy in the electricity production is only 2 or 5% of the mix. I think it's quite low. How do you explain such a difference?
Indeed, Arnaud. Since the various industrial revolution and the past worldwide economic development, fossil energy with high density and easy to transport were the primary energy of that growth. Yeah. While solar energy with industrialization of photovoltaic module as we know today is in fact quite young. The first photovoltaic effect was tested early on the 20th century, but the efficiency was very weak. The real start of using photovoltaic module and solar energy was with the launching of the satellite and the expansion of satellite in 60s and 70s. But at that time, it was a niche market, high-tech, for improving the autonomy of such satellite.
But in 60s, so it's not so new.
Yeah, but one more time, it was a niche market.
Okay.
The real industrialization, the massive development of the solar energy started in 2000, early 2000, when the developed country decided to invest through feeding tariff on renewable, and on that time the industrialization started. Early 2000, we are in 2022, so it's just 20 years.
Okay, and given that, so we presume that there will be a kind of growth in that, according to the scenarios?
Yes. Alors, today, the world electricity produce is done with 63% of fossil energy. But if we take the scenario, the net zero scenario of International Energy Agency, for being net zero in 2050, it is expected to have the capacity installed of solar energy, but also wind, to be multiplied by 20. So it will grow exponentially in the next 3 decades.
Okay, so huge growth to come by 20, multiplication by 20. Okay, so given this growth, and it was one of the questions of people on LinkedIn, people were wondering, okay, what's our part in that? Because it's true that apparently by 2050, according to the scenarios, solar energy or renewables could count for 50% of the electricity production. So huge growth to come. What is Total Energy's ambition in that? What do we do? What part do we take?
Total Energy ambition is simple. Total Energy wants to be in the top 5 renewable producer by 2030.
Okay.
And this will help us to meet our ambition to be carbon neutral by 2050, together with the society. Our ambition is to reach 100 gigawatts of renewable by 2030, 35 gigawatts by 2025, and the green investment to be planned by 2030 is around 60 billion. our energy mix is getting transformed, Arnaud. Today we have 7% of electricity and renewable in our mix. In 2030, the plan is to have 15%, and in 2050, we will be at 50% of
okay.
renewable and electricity in our mix.
Massive change in our energy mix.
Yes. Arnaud, some concrete figure. Last year, Total Energy invest more than 3 billion net invest in renewable. The 100 gigawatt, I give you a comparison with the power capacity installed today in France. The power capacity installed in France today is 136 gigawatt.
Okay.
So our ambition is 100 gigawatt of renewable, which is not so far of what we can see in France, globally speaking.
Okay.
Some example of investment. We invest in one of the biggest solar farm in Middle East in Qatar, 800 megawatt. It represents 10% of the peak demand of Qatar. Last year, we have invested in Agel. We took 20% of share. Agel is a company of Adani Group, and it is one of the biggest solar developer in the world.
In India?
In India market. Most recently, we acquired Core Solar, a developer in US with a pipeline of 4 gigawatts. And very, very recently, you see probably that communication,
yeah.
We acquire 50% of Clean Energy, Clearway, sorry, which is the top 5, the fifth developer in US. He has a 25 gigawatt of renewable pipeline and more than 7 gigawatt of operating capacity today.
So projects a bit everywhere, so in Qatar, in US, in India. And when you said 100 gigawatts, just for the sake of a comparison, today how much do we have in terms of gigawatts? It's
Alors, at the end of 2021, we had 10 gigawatt, and
okay.
the plan at the end of 2022 will be to reach 16 gigawatt.
Okay, so it's a massive investment in solar energy, yes. In renewables.
Indeed.
Okay, thank you for that. So I understand, yeah, so there are these big projects coming, and it links to one of the questions of people, because they want to understand what's from an expert point of view like you, what's the main complexity, according to you, in implementing these projects, these solar farms? Is it the technology that is maybe a bit over-promising? Is it the cost of this technology, which is maybe more expensive than others? Is it political reasons? What's hard when we want to implement a solar farm?
Alors, basically, developing solar, you have some constraints. You need solar resources, a place where you have sunny days.
Yeah.
You have a constraint about the space. You need to find space. I will give you figures about Alcarsa in a few minutes. And you need also to manage the intermittency. But let's stay optimistic. Solution exists, and solar is one of the energy which will be developed massively on the next decade. Alors, to develop a solar farm, you need, in terms of land, between 10 and 12 hectares for 10 megawatt of installed capacity. You need an access to the grid connection, and you need to do all this in local administrative constraints. You need permitting, you need to ask authorization, etc.
But people want to accept the farm in their lands.
Exactly. A good place for solar is you don't have a good place for solar everywhere in the world. The northern area, for example, are not a good place for solar. And you have, for example, in Europe, you have also some long time to achieve the permitting. So,
okay.
In France, for example, it takes a bit time to instruct all the administrative process in order to develop a solar farm. Yeah.
In some areas, it is faster than in others, or
could be faster in some areas. Some countries in Middle East organize big tender, so they manage all the constraints. In fact. And they want to obtain the best offer from the competitor. Yeah.
And when you were talking about spaces, when we prepared this interview, you mentioned the Qatar project. In terms of space, how much does it represent?
Alors, Qatar project, so it's 800 megawatt. It represents 1,400 soccer field.
1,400 soccer fields. Okay.
Yes.
So huge. So it is very, very huge. Okay.
You can imagine what it is. And it represents 2 million modules.
Okay.
Photovoltaic module. Alors, module is modular. So we can have a lot. This is the advantage of solar energy, solar asset. You can have a capacity from 1 megawatt or less till 800 megawatt or 1 gigawatt. We gave the example of this 800 megawatt plant in Qatar. I give you also an example of installing a solar module on 100 square meter house. For example, in France, you need 20 modules for 3 kilowatt of capacity.
Okay, so 20 modules for a roof on a house.
Exactly.
House. Okay.
Some words maybe about the solar resources. It is not equal everywhere in the world. For example, in Middle East, you have in average 2,400 solar production. In France, you are around 1,400 hours of production. Chile, it's a good place. Chile, you are around 2,800 hours of production. And after you have some country like Japan or UK, where you have 1,000 hours of solar production. Okay.
And you mentioned the cost also. The cost of this technology, is it true? We can say it is decreasing, I mean, thanks to the industrialization. Huh? So it is getting better.
Yeah, exactly. As I said a few minutes ago, the massive industrialization started in 2000, and the cost of the capex, the cost of the price, has a huge decrease from that time. And today, this energy is in some area is cheap and it has a price more interesting than other energy.
So which is a good news for the transition and the development of solar.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. We also received another questions about, and it makes the link with what you said about the variability, of course, of solar energy, because yes, we need sun. It cannot be produced during night, so it seems obvious. But I also know that there are some big improvements in the battery industry, and that we bought some a brand, an expert on the battery sector recently. What can you say about this? What's your view about this?
Alors, batteries are essential for the deployment of intermittent renewable in order to ensure guaranteed power and stabilize the electrical network.
Yeah.
In 2016, Total Energy acquired Saft, which is a French manufacturer of battery with high-tech battery. And Total Energy has invested also for 5 years in a battery project. For example, today in Texas, we are studying the development of battery co-located with solar farm.
Okay.
Another example is the fact in 2019 we have been awarded with a French grid operator 129 megawatts of battery in order to stabilize the network. Most of this capacity is nearly built today.
It is connected, so that means these batteries, they are connected to the grid, and so they can inject some power in the grid when there is a drop?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And can we say that most of the new projects in solar farms, do we always have now this battery infrastructure next to it, or is it not so?
Alors, not
obvious?
For all the projects, but for sure the battery will grow in the future, and we will see probably more and more projects with battery co-located with renewable capacity. Not only solar, by the way, as well wind.
All right. Okay, so now if we maybe get back to the technology point, not about battery, but about the solar farm technology, I would say, because there were a lot of questions about this, about your point of view about the innovations to come. Is there new technologies coming in solar energies that will maybe create a revolution in the way of implement this solar farm. What's your view on this?
Obviously, beyond the implementation of current technology contributing to the energy transition, achieving the global objective of carbon neutrality requires a major effort of innovation.
Yeah.
Coming back to solar, first of all, it is the efficiency and the improvement of the efficiency of the photovoltaic module. Every year, you have an improvement of such efficiency. It is why also the prices are decreasing since early 2000. And you have also now improving that efficiency, what we call the bifacial module. Bifacial module is the production of solar energy with the sun going to the front side of the module, and also taking the array reflecting on the soil and going to the
by
back
the
side.
back. So,
yeah,
so now a panel, they have two faces that they can produce electricity.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. And this technology also will improve during the next year as well. Yeah. Second innovation or breakthrough, it is how we improve the integration of solar module in our space, but including all the space. For example, you have now a development of what we call a floating solar farm.
Floating farm.
Yeah, floating farm, where we are building a solar farm on the lake, channel.
Okay, all right.
Secondly, there's a lot of work also done on the improvement of the integration on the building of the solar asset, the photovoltaic module, to cope with the architecture, for example, and it is probably something that will improve during the next year as well.
You mean that, for instance, in some building, in the walls or on the window, there might be some solar panels built with it?
We can believe easily that tomorrow the color of the module will be like a nice building, and nobody will see that we have.
There are solar panels behind.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Thirdly, in terms of optimization of space, there's a good development as well of what we call agrivoltaïsme.
Okay.
Agrivoltaïsme, agri and photovoltaïsme. It is the association of photovoltaic module on agricultural land.
Okay.
And there's probably a lot also on that for the next development.
So the ability to keep the farmers to produce some food or cereals or with the panels on it, and mixing both.
Exactly.
Mixing both needs. Okay.
Digitalization. Let's talk about digitalization. It's also an important lever of innovation. For example, in the development today, you have some innovation on how to find the best land with a good irradiation, not so far of the grid. So this digitalization will help also the development. But not only the development, you have also some digitalization innovation in the operation period of the plant when we are producing. So with the digitalization, you can easily try to understand better the predictable maintenance of the solar farm. When there's a default on the farm, with digitalization now you can probably understand very quickly that.
So you can improve the global efficiency of a panel ultimately.
Exactly.
And you also mentioned earlier this new technology, this carpet that you can basically you can uncarpet a solar panel. You know, you were telling me.
Oh, thank you for that question, because this is also a way of innovation. The innovation is not only the technique. It's also our improvement in a way of building a solar farm. So innovation in constructability, how we can improve the planning, how we can go faster, and there's there as well probably some breakthrough coming. You mentioned the flexible and rolling module. As you said today, you can deploy some module like a carpet you deploy on your room.
Okay.
Today is expensive, so it is not
But I could take one
deploy a lot,
and
but,
put it one in my garden.
Exactly, but for sure tomorrow we'll have probably good price on that technology. Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So clear innovations to come that will help developing this energy.
Some figure maybe, if you allow me, Arnaud, the Qatar plant, the 800 megawatt in Qatar. This one is one of the biggest in Middle East with bifacial module. Okay. In terms of agrovoltaic, Total Energy has developed a pilot in France, in the Île-de-France region. It's a pilot of 5,000 square meters, where we are going to study the effect of the solar production and the installation of module with the agricultural production.
Right.
Let me remind as well the budget today of Total Energy in terms of R&D and innovation, but for all the energy is around 1 billion.
So 1 billion in R&D, plus the 3-4 million investment in the renewables to reach this 100 gigawatt target.
That concrete figure.
Very clear. We also had questions about that makes the link between the two previous ones about the technologies and the batteries. If we say that there are these new technologies coming, like these floating modules or something else, and the battery industry that is getting better and getting developed, does that mean that in some countries or large areas with a lot of sun, of course, does that mean that these spaces, these areas could run 100% of their electricity on solar? Or is it not possible again today?
Alors, battery will help, but I think we'll have a long way to go on that route. Date renewable energy cannot work full time and cannot guarantee having power available on demand. They have to be completed with a flexible power plant, as for example with gas. But we have some example in some country where during some days, one day, the mix of that day was fully renewable.
Full renewable, okay. So it is possible.
It is possible, but
we have already done it.
Let me add something. Alors, you had the example, for example, in Costa Rica in 2019. You have the example in Portugal in 2018.
Okay.
But have in mind that both countries has a big part of hydro power plant in their mix. It's 80% in Costa Rica. It's 30% of in Portugal. So achieving the renewable was possible because there was a production as well of hydroelectricity. Yeah.
Okay, very clear. Okay, maybe let's go to another topic about the environmental impact of solar energy, because there have been many questions about this, and it's true that solar energy, like wind, is very pushed because it's zero emission, and it's good for the transition, definitely. But it's also true that, can we say that it has really zero impact in terms of carbon emissions? Because solar panels, they have to be produced, supply chain, whatever. What do you think about this?
Alors, again, Arnaud, in the scenario of International Energy Agency to be carbon neutral in 2050, again, and sorry to repeat, the solar energy will be multiplied by 20.
By 20.
On the next 3 decades. So this is the view of experts, and this highlights the major contribution of solar on achieving that goal. Alors, carbon footprint of solar farm, as you said, need to take into account the manufacturing of the module and the transportation of such module. Alors, what we are using, it's the energy time payback to understand during the operation of the plant how many years we need of such production to neutralize, to cover the carbon footprint of the supply chain of such plant. Alors, you need to know that for a solar farm, the energy payback time is between 1 and 2 years.
Okay.
When a solar farm can be operated during 30 years.
Okay, so it's quite fast. I mean, so it only takes 1 or 2 years to cover the emissions of the productions of a solar farm that will run for 30 years.
Exactly, indeed, Arnaud.
Okay. And what about the recycling of the panels? I mean, because there are some questions also about this.
Alors, at date, in terms of recycling, alors on the module, you have the frame, the metallic frame, and you have the glass. These two elements can be easily recycled.
Okay.
And the figure we have today, we can recycle up to 94% of a module at the end of its life. So,
okay, so
probably also among the next year, improvement will be done in.
Okay,
in
but it's already quite a good score, definitely. Okay. Okay, maybe last questions, and then we will take some of the questions of LinkedIn members that are in the comments. So we talked a lot about big solar farms, big projects like in Qatar, like in US tomorrow. But there's also this idea that tomorrow's energy is going to be far more local, with smaller units in a way, like everyone will be able to produce its own energy. So that brings me to the questions of how do you see things in terms of integration with buildings, with the construction industry? Does that mean that all new buildings tomorrow, they will have some solar panels on their roof? Or?
Yes, alors, we are coming back about the advantage of solar with modularity. Okay. We are talking there about distributed generation, so connection directly to a consumer.
Yeah.
And this is also an important development during the next years. In the mix, in the next capacity to be installed till 2030, depending on the country, because each country has different plan and regulation. The part of the distributed generation will be between 8% and 30%.
So the part of the production produced by
solar production in such a country, you will have a part between 8 and 30% of distributed generation.
Okay.
So, in Germany, for example, you start to have some regulation in some region where they make mandatory to install direct connection with a solar asset in the rooftop to supply energy in such a building.
So for all new buildings, they need to have
it is coming in some region, but you can see in some country the development of such regulation. Alors, we as Total Energy, in our activity, we develop some distributed generation business. Today, we have 500 megawatt capacity installed. In medium term, we plan to have 3 gigawatt. All this is also with customer B2B. Commercial and industrial, where Total Energy has a good knowledge and experience on this. So it is something that it is in development, and I will give you one of the countries where we are among the leaders, the USA. For CNI, commercial and industrial B2B customer, we are among the leaders, and also through SunPower. We are among the leaders for the residential, so installing power, installing solar asset in the rooftop of residential.
And when you mention the buildings, it's a kind of modules, you know, some units, some boxes you put on the roof on the building?
It's a module. Yeah, you install module on the rooftop. The same module that you can put in a big farm. You install the same, but with a few quantity on the rooftop. Yeah.
Okay, very clear. Okay, so I think it's now time to take questions from LinkedIn members. So we have a first question from Mathieu. A funny one. Myth or reality that solar panels affect the weather and reduce the rain in some areas?
Alors,
it's a funny question.
This is a funny question, and one more time, on the various scenario of some experts, including the International Energy Agency, solar with photovoltaic module will be multiplied by 20. So how we can multiply by 20 such capacity in one hand, and in one other hand increasing the dryness, I would say, of the planet. So no, I was aware about such studies, but frankly speaking, they are not so accurate. There's not a lot of such studies, so for me at date, it's something that need to be accurate, and it's quite strange. Yes.
The link is not is not established. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Question 2 from Andrea: which countries are the biggest producers of solar energy, and can France become one of the top producers?
Alors, today, the top producer is obviously China. By 2025, you will have more than 1,000 gigawatts installed.
Okay.
After China, there's the USA. By 2025, you will have more than 500 solar capacity installed. And after, you have Germany and India. Alors, France has a good capacity, but I would say France within European country, Germany, Italy, Spain, will be among the top solar producers.
So Europe will
yes.
have a good place.
Exactly.
Okay. Another question from Mohamed. How is hydrogen being used as a storage solution role in solar photovoltaic? Do we have a connection with hydrogen? Do we know this? Or?
Yes. Alors, what is in big development today in the world is what we call the green hydrogen. With electrolyzation to produce hydrogen, we are doing this electrolyzation with renewable capacity. Alors, there's a lot of ideas, there's a lot of projects, but to come back to TotalEnergies, we have announced with our partner Adani a big project of green hydrogen with 4 gigawatts of renewable capacity. So
okay, so it's already on track, and we have.
It's on track, and we have concrete project in TotalEnergies.
Cool. And maybe a last question from Shivank. What do you think about having long line of cables from geographically lucky solar farms? Do we have long line of cables coming from the farm? I mean, is something still a bit necessary?
Well, I see what could be behind that question. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there was a project Desertec, where the principle was quite simple. Is to have a huge solar farm in the Sahara Desert in order to supply Europe with green energy.
Okay.
Alors,
with long cables in that case.
Long cable. You have also a kind of project like this in Southeast Asia with Australia and the country close to Australia. But frankly speaking, you have a lot of losses.
In terms of energy?
In terms of energy, from the place you produce and till the place you need to consume. You have a lot of losses, and it costs a lot. So at time, such solutions are not so easy to implement.
So solar farms or renewables, these energy are pretty local. I mean, they have to be. It's better if we consume them not too far from where they are produced to avoid the loss of efficiency.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so I see the clock, and we are already at the end of our interview. It went very fast, Laurent. So, first of all, thank you very, very much for taking the time to answer the questions, because it's not an easy topic sometimes. So, thank you very much. We learned a lot thanks to you and your knowledge. So thank you for this, honestly. And also. A big thank you to all of you who watched us for these 30 minutes and who showed interest about this live for the past weeks. If you find it interesting, stay tuned to our account, because there might be other events like this coming soon about other energies with other experts from TotalEnergies like you, Laurent. So thank you very much. Take care, all of you, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Arnaud.